Hi, welcome to Bad Music Taste and the Ways to Ruin Your Life. My name is Dominic.
And my name is Sam. Dominic has a record this week.
This week's record is Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables by the Dead Kennedys. This was first released in 1980. The copy I have here is a repress on black vinyl. Anyways, today we're talking to Walter Schreifels from Gorilla Biscuits, Youth of Today, and Quicksand. How's it going, Walter?
It's going good, Dominic. Thanks.
Absolutely. How have you been staying busy through all this?
Wow. I guess I've been appreciating not traveling and being as busy. I've had some chance to just kind of sit around and play guitar, and I like to go for a run and spend time with my family, and I've been enjoying that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Cool.
it's been crazy. Just virtual school has been insane.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I know. I've been watching. I have a daughter that's she's 12 years old, so I've watched her have to go with virtual school, and it's pretty nuts. But I guess you guys all have to manage. We all have to figure it out.
Yeah, today was supposed to be the last day of school before Thanksgiving break, and I woke up to find out that our school had been hacked, like the system.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there
What
was,
Yeah,
happened?
like
there
you
was
would
like
get like
there was like a ransomware thing.
yeah.
Oh
Like if you
gosh,
logged in, you get like a virus. On your
Yeah,
computer,
no,
like,
I had the app on my phone. I had like the bookmarks on my computer. So we just
had to delete like everything.
that is insane. I've never heard of that.
They issued like
Yeah.
school computers. It's all like HP stuff, but I use my personal because that's just what I prefer. And they were like, do not log into BCPS. Do not even open the computer.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I guess if you open the computer, and you log
It like
in,
loads it up again.
yeah, it asks you to update it. And then when you update it, it just takes everything on there.
What a nightmare.
Yeah.
And so the scam is then that you have to give them money to fix your computers, or is that?
Yeah, no, it's like they just take the whole system, and I guess when you log onto a computer, they take that too. So they're trying to get as much as they can, so then they can get more money for it. And yeah, it's like if you pay us this, you can have it all back. It's so
because they said even if we can't access those computers, if we log into the we can't even log into the platform because they've cut off access to it because of the money. It's crazy.
That is so. People are so twisted. That's just so awful.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was a kid, I guess in some ways my dream would be stuff like that to happen. Anything to cancel school in a way. But I think, from watching my daughter, and I don't know if you guys feel this way too, but maybe there's some of that, but eventually you guys just want to have school and have that connection, even though it's obviously it's work and,
yeah.
It's your chance to
I mean, I would sit in class just dreaming about virtual school, and it has its ups and downs. There's more freedom to it, but at the same time, it's the teachers don't care either. So it's
I mean, as far as missing today, I was just thankful that we were going to be off for a 4-day weekend anyway. It wasn't like we were going to be doing all of this crazy work and tests today. So
right. So they picked a decent day for you guys to pull their malware, their ransomware scheme.
Yeah.
At least they were cool about that.
Yeah.
We'll give them an extra day, because if it was the Tuesday before,
right,
that would have
right.
And
man.
we were talking to our friend who lives in Ocean City last night. We're in the outside of the city in Baltimore. Our friend, he got an extra day. His break started today when our break was supposed to start tomorrow. His stuff wasn't affected by it, I don't think. But he was haha, bragging about it, about how he had an extra day.
And then
I
we were
said
like,
that
yeah,
to my
we
dad.
do
He was
too.
like, "How good is he with computers?" It's funny because like that's
Right.
what he does.
Oh my
Like
God.
he plays
Yeah.
video games all day.
Okay. Well, then he's got a leg up. That's
Yeah.
great. Yeah. Luckily, I hear about these things. I've been very fortunate, knock on a car upholstery that I have never had any sort of incident of that. But that is just very that's very nerve wracking. But you'll get through it. If anything about COVID, it's about getting through it and
Yeah.
keeping a positive mental attitude.
Yeah. The thing that was scary to me is I use like my personal computer and like what if they get to that? Because I have all these like previously recorded interviews like yet to be uploaded.
Nightmare.
I don't know when this is going up, but like there's like we talked to Ian Mackay the other week and that one's supposed to go up tomorrow. We've been like anticipating that for months. And like to give that up would just
my
suck.
gosh.
We were horrified because you never want to
you
make
have to call them back and try again.
Right. You never want to make that message to somebody and be like, we have to do it again. Because it's never the same first time.
Yeah,
and it was like
you want to capture that.
Yeah, like we already like promoted that one. It was like it's going up soon. And like that would suck. So
count your blessings. I'm glad that that's working out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but going back to a PMA, how would you say you've been keeping a PMA as well?
Well, I guess when things first happened, when COVID first happened, I guess everyone, not everyone, but I guess it was a bit of a shock trying to get used to a new situation. And I live in Brooklyn, New York. And so New York at that time was especially just kind of, I guess it was the center, not really my neighborhood, but New York, you're really feeling like that's a primary place. So I'm lucky that I have a place in upstate New York that I can go to. And so I took my family and we went upstate New York where it was just very, very detached from all that kind of stress. And so that was kind of a good outlet. But of course, my family and my friends are still in New York. So I was, it was, I think, a strange time for everyone, but I kind of got in some good habits of, with exercise, going for runs, which is nice up in upstate New York. It's pretty easy to do that. And, just kind of cooking, the sort of things that people have been getting into, to try to keep themselves interested in life and to make the best of a difficult situation. But I've appreciated all that. I of course, like, I'm a music lover like you guys. Like, I'm looking forward to being able to participate in like shows and have that kind of moving forward. But all in all, I mean, from my personal experience, it's been kind of okay.
Yeah, I mean, same for us. We wouldn't have started the podcast if it wasn't for like all the time.
Right. How cool is that? That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's definitely a positive to come out of it. But like, mentioning like family, it's definitely rough not to be able to see everybody on like the holidays. Like that, like just coming up, I know it's gonna be hard. Like Thanksgiving tomorrow. Like happy early Thanksgiving. But then you have like Christmas too, like that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like right now from the news, it's gotten pretty bad again. So I guess that was to be expected. Yeah. It's wonderful that you guys were starting this podcast in that time. And like, the holidays like Thanksgiving, it's going to be pretty small this year for us. We would usually like to have, more of our family around, but it's just like, it's an opportunity. I mean, and you guys are obviously so much younger, but, to see things through a different lens and appreciate different aspects of what life has to offer, where usually there's so much other stuff going on. Maybe some of the options have been narrowed, or you just have to figure out a different way to do it. And I think that's good for your like, it's just good for your psyche. And you know, even though there's some annoyance and trauma there too, but I think we could all come out of this stronger people, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, of like, I always go to like my grandparents' house in Florida for Christmas. And, like,
wow.
If it were anywhere else, then like we would probably try to go there. But like my entire family is in Florida, so that kind of sucks.
Man, it would be kind of cool to go to Florida too right now. That's kind of
but at the same time, very nerve-wracking.
Yeah, I'd be like nervous everywhere I went if I went somewhere like that.
Oh yeah, I'm not doing anything like that either. But
yeah,
I mean, just like on a regular way of just being in Florida for Thanksgiving with the family sounds kind of nice right now.
Yeah.
That must be kind of cool. It'll be that much sweeter when it does finally happen next time.
Yeah, but whenever we're in Florida, we'll always like go to like a show. Like we went there last Christmas, and the Radolescents played at like a little bar.
That's amazing.
And it was so tiny. It was like the size of my room. You're like pretty much just sitting next to Rick Agnew.
That's amazing.
I think I had he was just like, there were tables there. There were only like 15 people there. And I was sitting at this one table, and then right next to us, he like puts his guitars down and starts changing the strings. And I bought like their live CD. I was like, will you sign this? It's like, sure. Because he's very like just so intimidating. And I don't know why. He was like, sure. And he was like the nicest person ever.
He's a great guy.
Yeah. He was like, make sure you get everybody else to sign it. And then I asked Casey Royer to sign it. And then he was like, sure, I'll be right back. And then went on stage, and we never saw him again.
Holy cow. And so Casey Royer was in, because Casey Royer, I haven't seen him play with the Adolescents. That's kind of a special thing. That's amazing.
Yeah. It was the Radolescents, which is like ex-members.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like the bassist from DI, Dan Colburn, and then like Casey Royer and then Rick Agnew.
Oh wow. So they were doing DI songs as well and mixing it up a little bit.
They had other members of DI, but it was just like the Blue Album front to back, and that was it.
Okay, wow. And what an album.
It was cool because my uncle's band, he plays in a band called Grave Return. They opened for the show. And yeah, I don't know. That was like, it wasn't like he was going to get us.
So you kind of got in for free is what I'm guessing.
I mean, tickets were like $3, so yeah. But it was like, maybe he can get us backstage. There was no backstage. Yeah. It was just a bar.
Yeah. When it's 15 people in the audience, the whole place is kind of backstage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I walk in, and Casey Royer's the person like stubbing your ticket.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, cool. It was fun, but at the same time like really weird, because like, Rick Agnew's guitar stopped working, and then Casey Royer like gets out of his drum set and starts telling jokes.
That's amazing. Well, you know, it's you always want the show to go perfectly well and be professional, but sometimes you have to have that skill to just, you know, kind of talk through whatever the mishap is going on. That's good that Casey Royer my guitar didn't work, I'd be happy to have Casey Royer tell jokes while I was trying to figure it out.
Oh yeah, and then somebody started yelling like rim shots. Yeah, it was really cool.
I always thought Casey Royer is always the kind of the funny one of that scene. I mean, I've never seen DI, but have you guys seen that movie Suburbia?
No, but I want to.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it's kind of intense, some like 1980s intensity, but like some of it's probably not what we'd call PC anymore. But the performances by DI and by who else is really good in that? Now you put Adolescence in my mind, but they're not in it. A lot of great performances in that movie. Incredible.
Yeah, Sam wants me to watch Rock and Roll High School, which I don't know where to find it.
It's such a good movie. You really should.
Where to find it. But Thanksgiving,
Sam, I love that movie.
we'll watch that tomorrow.
Yeah. I'll buy it for Christmas. I don't care. I just want you to watch it.
It must be on like Amazon or something like that. It must be in some subscriber thing.
I know Suburbia is. But I've never been able to find Rock and Roll High School anywhere. I don't know. But sorry.
So how would you say the production side of music is different from the musician side?
Production side, well, the production side, I mean, you're the one, there's two different elements. There's the side of it that you're recording the actual music. So that's sort of a technical skill that has a lot of artistry in it as well. And the artistry will come in where how you might place a microphone or how you might run signal through certain effects to create a sonic kind of painting in a way. And so there's a lot of art to recording, just engineering a band, you know, or music. And then there's the other side of production, which is more the running through the songs, getting good performances, you know, because you can have all the microphones set up all interestingly and have everything on that side be really, really cool. And the band comes in, and unless you're able to, you know, as a producer, to encourage them to get to a place where they're giving the best performance and are in a good vibe, you know, like that, really affects how a recording can be really something special or something kind of like okay, you know. And as a producer, you have to have an aesthetic sense of like what you're looking for and what you believe that band is capable of. And at the same time, it's also interpersonal kind of relationships, like any sort of thing that you're working on with a friend, like you and Dominic here, like you guys have a shared interests, and you know, maybe not everything is exactly the same. You both bring different gifts and point of view to what you're doing. And so you're trying to communicate with those other people, and a producer can be really effective in doing that, you know, to get through, you know, it's like anything, like there could be some problem getting a great performance. How do you talk to all the musicians to get to the next place and have everyone feel good? Because you could get everyone to get to the place where you get through the problem, but you could do it in a way where people now feel like beat up. You know, you want people to feel like we got there and we did it together and there's nothing we can't do. You know, I mean, I guess different people have different approaches, but I think in general, that's the ideal, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're not having fun making it, then nobody's going to have fun listening to it.
Right. It's hard to think that, you know? I mean, I think there's probably records that could be actually where maybe they weren't having fun, or it was really hard or difficult, but that the producer, you know, if he's capturing that with the, you know, the engineering aspects, you know, maybe that's a real emotional thing that works, you know, because not everything has to be, you know, some things that are, you know, you watch movies or something or read a book that's about something like maybe really hard and unpleasant and maybe doesn't have like a great ending or you know what I mean? There's things like that can also still be good. But I think as a general mode of moving progressively and just what I prefer, I rather things be fun, you know, and exciting and enjoy the people that I'm working with, because then you are not dealing with you're not getting hung up or dealing with drama as much. But, you know, in the end, I would say the thing that's most important is that the thing that you're working on, you know, we're talking about music, so the album or the song or whatever that you're working on, in the end, if it's good, it's good. It doesn't matter how we got there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you have a solo project, so how is it to go from playing in hardcore bands like Gorilla Biscuits and Youth of Today to playing in solo acoustic stuff?
Yeah, I that's a good question. I guess from doing these different bands, they have different kind of you know, it's different people in them and different, you know, so there's different kinds of chemistry, and you're kind of trying to create a different sort of you know, with those different chemistries, you're trying to create a different sort of a story, or, you know, or a sound. So I really enjoy those differences. And so after working, you know, you just mentioned like 3 bands that I'm working with, it naturally starts to I start to wonder, you know, here I'm doing all this different variety. How does it then work if I'm the only person that I'm kind of collaborating with, or I reduce that number? And is it still something that I'm excited about or want to share with people, or is it, you know, how is it different? So I think that's kind of what drew me to it, is just the wanting to explore, like, what is it like when I just do it, and what comes out then. And, you know, it brings out a lot of different stuff. And so I enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I play a couple different instruments, and sometimes I'll go to like my basement and just like play around and record something, but I'm like hesitant to record something because I'm like, is it good? Is it not good?
Yeah.
This is just my opinion. And then when you're playing with somebody, they can just be like, no, that sucks.
Yeah.
Get like the live feedback from people instead of having to send it to like all your contacts and be like, is this good?
Yeah.
Generally, I think if you send things to people, your friends, you know what I mean? They're generally going to want to encourage you. You might have some like friends that are real hard, honest friends. You know, I don't know, you know, we all love them, I guess, you know, but most of our friends are basically going to want to encourage us.
Yeah, like some people might not even listen to it and just go.
Yeah, they'll give you a thumbs up, which is, you know, maybe not the best thing, but
like what can I do to improve it?
But if someone's in your band with you,
yeah,
you know, people who aren't in your field don't necessarily have the language to give you that kind of feedback. But if you're in a band, you know, or you're, you know, working on a collaborative project, that person is going to, the part of the good thing about it is that other person has a stake in it being good. So if it comes out bad, it's bad for him too, or bad for her too.
It's not just your name.
This sucks for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you're more likely to give honest, hopefully constructive feedback. And so when you're by yourself, of course you should seek out friends that you trust, that you think could give you a good opinion without like crushing your little emotional, you know, vibe, but crushing your soul, you know. But I think that's the challenge, because it really has to come more from you. Like, is this good? Is if it's good, is it something that I want to share with people? You know, each decision is your own. And if it's bad and it's not coming out good, well, then it's on you to fix it. Whereas in another situation, it could be just, Jerry's such a jerk. He's holding the band back. You know what I mean? Like, you have the sort of excuse to pawn off your sort of insecurities on in some way. And so it's a different animal. And I think for that reason, you know, I admire people that can just do that without any sort of, you know, just like anybody that's good at anything, they'd make it look easy. But when you're doing it yourself, those are the things that I work with or confront. And at the same time, it's very satisfying when you do something on your own, you know, and you're happy with it, and you know that every decision was yours and you're happy with that result. That's a really cool it doesn't always work like that, of course, but it's a continuing process.
Yeah. On that, what made you want to do solo stuff?
Yeah, I guess just really that having worked with all these different people, I wanted to see what it was like when I did it myself, because sometimes I would, for all the reasons we were just saying, like you get reliant on the energy of other people, and you get reliant on those structures and those people coming up with ideas when you don't have one. And, or blaming them when something isn't the way that you think it should be. And, that happens as well. So if you just do it yourself, then you kind of, you're confronting something else. And when I say confront, it sounds like heavy, but it's really only how heavy you want to make it. You know what I mean? And what's like you just said, Dominic, that you go downstairs, you lay down a couple things and you think it's good, but you're not sure. You know what I mean? Like that's the work for you, like you can never be sure, really. You know what I mean? I've played things that I think are so awesome that I'm so convinced are great. And then other people hear them, they're like, yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
And the opposite, things that I thought were like, I don't know if this is that great. And then people like, oh my God, that got me through high school, and so it's really all subjective, so you have to have that sort of willingness to make those decisions.
Yeah, I think that moment, like with the relying on like collaboration, has happened to all of us at least once, where you're kind of like talking to somebody and you kind of know they're doing all the work, but you're like critiquing them on how they're doing it, and they're like, well, why don't you just do it yourself? And it's kind of like, well, whoa, I didn't think about it like that, when that's what I should have been doing the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, it's different, it's sometimes nice to have, I love collaborating with people, but until you really do it yourself, maybe it's hard to appreciate the roles that, another collaborator can give to you, and also to become more sure in what you want, you know what I mean? And what your value is to something and what's important to you, so that you don't, you can become a better collaborator that way.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So like kind of on that same topic, I guess you could say, do you think there was, talking about like the collaboration, was there more freedom in expression with solo music? Like, did you feel like you could write more about like maybe like your own experiences?
I feel I had to draw into it more, in sense that there's, for example, like with Gorilla Biscuits or something, like it's has a personal sort of aspect to it, but it's really about a scene, and it's about how we feel, like a collective sort of feeling. And when you're saying that, this is a Walter Schreifels record, so then it's like, you're kind of inviting people into your living room, and then what goes on there, how interesting is that? Like, okay, well, here's my book collection. I read these books, and, I kind of like to sit over here, and this light's cool. Let's turn it on. You know what I mean? Like, it can be really mundane. So then how do you animate that world and make it interesting? And, some people, I think there's like maybe a sort of some sort of stereotype or cliche that, this solo artist is like brooding and this going deep to his emotional core to find the truth of life. I think that is amazing for people that are naturally inclined to that kind of stuff. But for me, I think in my solo work, I try to find that emotional depth in a light motif, so it's not so heavy, where you can find that you can search out and find the heaviness within the a sort of kind of more colorful light atmosphere, so which is also, I think, which is something I did with Gorilla Biscuits actually too, in a lot of ways. But on my solo record, the first song is called Arthur Lee's Lullaby. Like a lullaby is sort of like I don't know, it just sounds like a nice thing. You know, your mom sings you a lullaby when you're a little kid. It's sort of nice. And then Arthur Lee is this person that I really admire that did this really cool music in the 1960s that had a real playful side to it. But within the song structure, I wrote it at a time where I was feeling a lot of questioning very big things about life, you know, like things that people are during COVID are questioning big things, you know? And so it came from a place of sort of, you know, what is the meaning of life kind of, you know, catharsis. But I tried to put it in such a way that you didn't have to like really, it wasn't like taking a college class and something heavy, you know what I mean? Where it could just be fun, where it could be fun. And you can find that. So that's kind of like my sort of style in a way. But at the same time, I don't like to get stuck in a style or be afraid of being maybe more saying exactly what it is that I'm singing about and convey that in a very direct way. I think that can be awesome. And I think that you can make great music that way or great art that way. But I try to play with the balancing those things throughout, and especially in solo stuff, because if it doesn't work and it didn't work because you didn't make it work, you know. So I want it to be good.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Going back to music production, how is it, I guess, different to record records now as opposed to like that first Gorilla Biscuits record?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool thing about that time, and first to me anyway, but so you're kind of going from the world of where the only thing that you could record yourself on is like a cassette tape, and that recording is very two-dimensional. You can't really hear the depth of the instruments, and that's what the kind of technology was if you didn't really have money. So then if you wanted to go into a studio, you'd have to get some money, and as a teenager, money's hard to come by, you know, so it would have to be a kind of a big deal. So when I finally did get to go into the studio, it felt like a big deal because you couldn't do it at home on a laptop. You could only go to this place where it was like adults running this thing. And you were obviously, as a kid, you were the least experienced. And, you know, there's this difference between kind of adults and kids anyway. So you're just sort of like a little bit intimidated.
Yeah.
But listening back to the music recorded with microphones and hearing like a guitar double tracked, you know, where two guitars are playing the same thing, and hearing the warmth of that sound was I don't even know how to describe. It's just like eating pizza for the first time or something. Or, you know, like, what? Where has this been? This is the best stuff. I just want to eat pizza all the time. And it had that because I had no reference to it. There was no buildup. It was just like you're in 100%. And I think the other aspect of that time too was that it was way more live related. So you would have to record the song and know the song pretty well to perform it. And then you would just take the best performance and pick that one and kind of build the details from there. So basically it was a lot more of a direct connection from the studio, like, or your garage or wherever you were working with your friends, to this more slick kind of, you know, professional recording. Whereas nowadays, there's so much more options and so much ability to learn the process at home along the way. So you can, you can go in your basement and just record something cool, and you can get a pretty good idea of what it's going to sound like, you know what I mean? And if you don't like how many times this part goes, you can then, cut and paste an extra couple of bars onto it and that kind of thing. you're able to write the song as you're recording it. And that's amazing. And the fact that you can do all those things without, you know, getting that money and going to kind of the process that I was talking about is really, really cool. And I record on GarageBand, stuff like that. So I'm doing it and I appreciate that a lot. But I think the problem is that you have so many options because it's based on this, you know, the ability, the freedom of this recording process, that you could be endlessly working on something and never complete it, or work on it so much that it no longer is connected to the original thought or idea that sort of gave it life in the first place. Whereas in the kind of, when I first started recording, it was very connected to that life because it was really just one transfer. You know, we recorded it, we practiced in the garage, we go into the studio on that day, and on that day we recorded it, and that's basically it. So it's the travel time and route is a lot more direct. Whereas now, and of course you can always go back to that system. Like sometimes, you know, we say, let's just do it old school and, you know, just do it. But then you do try to do it old school and you're like, damn, I'm not happy with that one little thing that happened there. Let's edit that. And it just kind of opens up that process. I think everyone is able to, I think it behooves people to take note of their process, because the options are sort of limitless now. So you have to figure out like when you're using those options in a beneficial way versus like, I'm just running around a tree here. This just doesn't make any sense, you know? So I don't know. It's a long answer for the subject, but you can always go back in a sense, but to those OG kind of methods, but you know, why leave it all on the table? You know, you got options.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I go down there, obviously I have to just record it like track by track by track. But I have like, I think it's like in like 8 plugin like interface. And I would much rather like play with 2 other people and then like just record it all at once and then like do it from there. Like that's like what I prefer, but again, like there's like no limit to what you can do there.
Right. Like there's so much variety nowadays. Like when you try to do something old fashioned, you can't, because you're like, well, we could use this platform to change this part, and then it just like spirals into changing everything.
Yeah.
I've been there where it's like, yeah, old time hockey, let's do it. And then you're like, but that one little thing, and then it just opens up a whole world. Whereas it, you know, if you go in, okay, we record on November 28th, we've got this amount of time, and we just do it, and that's it. It holds a certain power, but that power might be like, we made a shitty song on the 28th of November, and we could have fixed it, but we screwed up and we did it in this old school way, you know? So I think it behooves you to kind of get your song down and really know what you want to say and what you want it to feel like. And I think what you're saying, that's the ideal, you know, and a lot of the hardcore stuff and all the punk stuff, you know, that you guys are listening to, that's how they did it. You know, Fresh Fruit for Rotten Vegetables was not, you know, that was recorded on probably like an 8-track recorder and probably took them a day and a half is what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, rather than going into a recording session thinking this is how we're going to record it, go into it thinking we're going to record it. And that's it.
Right.
We're doing this.
Yeah.
You're documenting something that's alive, you know, because if it's like you and your friends created this thing, you guys had all the conversations, you got excited about the original idea, and you like brought it to this point. Let's just like capture that in a bottle, hopefully, and then we can, you know, that'll live on. And I think that's beautiful when it works that way. That's why I like old recordings a lot, you know, that just has that feel, versus recordings now are cool too, obviously, but in just a different way.
Yeah, I mean, stuff now is just very, very crisp. I'll say, just very like cleaned up, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like
I think you lose a lot of the roughness in people's and personality and people's playing, because you can just, where if you listen to like an older, or I listen to my own recording sometimes, and I'll just hear all the mistakes in it that would be now wouldn't exist if it were recorded now. But those mistakes are the points that make this a unique universe, you know, so to speak. You know, that's what make this song like unlike any other song in the world. Where nowadays, because if you go online, you can learn all the same processes that everyone's using. You're basically flattening out things so that it sounds sort of similar to other things that you've heard, so that people are, you know, ideally more accepting of it. Because if it's different from that, you're running the risk that people just say like, this sounds weird, next, you know?
Yeah.
Well, Walter, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
My pleasure, guys. So nice to meet you both. And I love that COVID inspired you guys to put this together. It's really awesome.
Well, thank you, and you as well, and have a wonderful holiday tomorrow.
You too. Bye, guys.
Bye.